Hi, it's Sarah Jane here from Natural Heating, and I've come to see Mike and Lorraine again. They had a warm stove fitted winter time last year, and this summer they've had a Clock Blithfield 5 in a rather nice opening into a false chimney. So we're going to go and have a wee look. Oh, got all my stuff with me. That'll do it. Doggies will be here in a minute. There's Lily. Yeah. This is just a quick one, and the wee doggies are snoring. Mike's been waiting a while for this fire. He's got his shorts on, all prepared. All ready. Right, so Mike had an absolute nightmare install with this fire because he had a lot of chimney problems that none of us were expecting. It turned into a pretty horrid scenario. We'll tell you about that later. But he opted for a lovely green clock. So this is actually forest green in colour, and he's got brass fittings on there. And I've just noticed something that I haven't done for you. I haven't brought your brass stub for your handle, Mike. I'll need to bring that later. Or you can pick it up next time you're in. But anyway, Mike's got a forest green clock, and it's a really stunning colour. And if you saw this fire in daylight, you'd really appreciate what was actually going on here, because he's got this really special, I think it's slate. Is it slate? I think it's polished slate.
Polished slate.
Surround. It's just absolutely beautiful, and it's got all kind of highlighted pieces in the surround itself that are green and gold, and it brings out the colour. Oh, he's got his torch. There you go. You can see it's green now. It's not the best light, but I'll flip it round the other way. That makes it like a really funny colour with the torch on it, because it's a really soft colour.
It's dark, yeah.
It's not that colour. It's like a hermit now. It's false light, yeah. But the colours that's in this surround, there we go. We can see better up close. A really pretty sort of marbled colour, plus like a little gold painted in highlight. Don't know if the gold would have been original or leafed in, or somebody's painted them in, but it's really pretty anyway. There you go. You can see the green on the clock now, and the tiles on the floor, and it's currently a kind of clay colour paint on the inside. Mike's decided he doesn't like it, so I think he's going to change the colour, this more to a sort of cream colour on the inside rather than the clay. But it looks lovely with the brass fittings. So we'll get it lit up for its first. Now with the one in the shop, you'll see, and I don't know if Mike's got one here, and I forgot to bring one, so I'll need to change this for him later. Although I really love the clock brass fittings, I don't like what they do with the stubs, because what they do is they give you a stainless one and paint it black if you're having a standard coloured stove, or it comes painted in the colour if you're buying a special colour stove. And what actually happens is Mike hasn't even lit this fire yet, and you already see that the paint's coming off the stub. Do you see what I mean? And I have to say, this I personally find is the only thing that's disappointing about the clock brass fittings. So you will see in the video that I've done when I've got them in my shop, I actually had some of these made in brass, so that for my customers that are having brass fittings and I do not sell them, you only get them from me, and you only get them. You only get them if you're having a brass fitting pack from me with your fire, not available separately. Then I change this and give you that one in brass to match, because I think it looks much nicer. Clocks they all wear, but I've been doing them for a year or two now, and they've got no marks on them, so my customers get these in brass, and I forgot to bring one for Mike, so I'll need to get one to him, because it's a nice thing to have, and it really finishes. Alright, so I thought I'd just do a little bit to pop in the middle of the video. This is a forest green clock that I have in the shop in the Blithfield, the exact same as what Mike and Lorraine have got in theirs. And what Clock do is they give you a silver one that's painted black. And I actually had brass ones made to match their door fittings for my shop customers. Not allowed to sell them, I don't sell them. They're only for my shop customers that are buying a clock with brass fittings. I give you this bit with yours, so you get a brass one, not one that's been painted. Because you know what? I think it looks really smart, don't you? There you go. It's nice, isn't it? So Mike has laid all his stove out already, ready to light. So he's got his own kindling, but I've got some with him now. How do we actually work this, Mike? Oh yeah, there we go. It's like we're going to electrocute it.
Yeah.
It's a strange fire lighting tool, this one, but okay. It's not what I'm used to. It's a bit more subtle than my blowtorch. So our vents are totally open. The bottom one to the left is your top air control, and the one to the right is your bottom air control. And we're just getting that little kindling stack going, so we'll have the door slightly ajar. Now, I come up with an extra trick for these dials. So you might have seen in my other video that I did in the shop, I've actually made some sticky labels for these dials. So if Mike wants to put them on, then we'll put them on, and if he doesn't, we won't. But I've done a sticky label that looks like a clock face, so that when you turn these, you can't tell from looking at it if they're open or shut. So I've actually made sticky labels that can go on here so you can tell where you are and you know how much to turn them to get your favourite setting. Do you want me to stick them on, Mike, or do you want to do them later?
No,
you want me to put them on? I'll pick them out for you and you can choose which ones you want on which side, because I'll give you 2 different ones, okay? Huge, big, chunky kindling we've got in there. So when we've got these dials on the bottom, they're open when they're to the left and they're shut when they're to the right. Now my door is currently slightly ajar to get this lit. And I've done these stickers, which are clear, to go on these dials. Now, you want to actually shut the air control so that we know that's up for like 12 o'clock before you put your stickers on, if you've had stickers off of me. So they want to be up the way, and then you know as you turn them how far open it is. Alrighty, so I'm just going to stick them on there. I need to put the phone down to do that. Right, so we've got the sticky stickers on the dial now, so I'm going to open them fully up. Originally, I'd come up with the idea of laser engraving them, but I can only say that didn't work, because laser engraving them would have been quite nice, but because you've got a thread in the inside and you're screwing them onto a threaded bar, up was never up when you laser engraved them because the different starting point. So all the markings were just all wonky, so I opted for a sticky label. So it's something you can do if you want to have a play about, or you could just put a dot on it for where's open and where's shut with a marker pen or some nail polish. But I just thought wee clock faces was quite nice and a bit more accurate. So there you go, you can see my clock faces and where they're at. And this one turns right round and turns loads, and you'll get to know where you like your settings or not. But we have them fully open for now. Now this flue actually goes through a plate. This is twin wall insulated flue pipe, so this is an adjustable joint that slides up and down. So it goes up through this fake plate and then on to further up and onto a bend and through the wall and outside. Originally we thought that this was a chimney breast because it was meant to be a chimney breast, but it wasn't. So it went up and we were going through the wall into a flexible liner to replace an old stove that was in here on a flexible liner into the chimney. Didn't happen like that. It was a nice nasty shock for Mike and the boys when they all opened it up, and it turned out that there was a badly built shaft, we can only call it, on the outside. Am I right, Mike? Oh god, it was awful. It was a thing of nightmares, I think. So that shaft basically had a flexible liner in it, and it should have had a clear concrete liner on it because of the age of the extension in the building, and it was all backfilled with rubble and things that could have gone on fire, and it was a really nasty surprise. It went right up past the gutter line, and the flue liner went past the gutter line, and he's really lucky he had such a teeny weeny stove in there that had barely been used, or he probably wouldn't have had a house. So it was a lucky call, really, to end up changing it. But it was a an unsuspecting Pandora's box, unfortunately, and poor Mike and Lorraine have had hell with this one while we got it all opened up. Unfortunately, the lot averages only gives us an idea of about 90% of cases of what to expect when you open a fireplace up, and the odd one has some pretty nasty surprises, and this was it. So anyway, it's all right now, but what we need to remember with this one is this is a cold chimney on an outside wall. Now, it's not cold today, but you've got a huge chimney that's full of cold air, and it's all outside. So we need to give it extra boost for extra length to make sure that fire is properly developed, because we've got to push all the cold air out the chimney to get that chimney to pull. Because if you don't, and you don't give it enough pressure to start pushing that out before you shut the door, then what is going to happen is the cold air push the hot air back down and into the room. Now, Mike's got some good size kindling. His kindling's nice and chunky. Mine is a lot more dwindly. We've got some of what I use in the box here. So this stuff is about 12mm square, and what Mike's got, and he's got some in this basket here, is, oh, that feels very different. That's very, very lightweight. So what do you think we're going to find in that, Mike?
What is going to find? What do you mean, in it?
Not a lot of meat in it.
Oh, no.
So because there's not a lot of meat in it, it's kind of more like air. So it's going to burn quick, but it's actually not going to give off an awful lot of heat. So it's going to disappear really quick. But I brought a great big box of kindling for Mike. I think he's just got this because he'd nearly run out, because he's got 6 boxes, big boxes of kindling to pick up at mine. Huge boxes of stuff, enough to do most of the winter, I think. But
I wouldn't swear it, I'll go put that
no,
in there.
but picking the wrong fuel can make a big difference. And just because it's dry and it burns doesn't mean you get a lot of heat, because some of the fuel I had last winter, it was so featherweight, there was just no meat in it to get any heat out of it. And it was not brilliant, so I changed over a lot of mine to kiln dried. And this winter I brought in some different wood that was specifically grown for firewood, that there's a lot more weight to, but I bought it early so it dries out, so we've got some good winters burning, rather than older, more rotten trees that have been taken down that just don't have enough calories in the actual wood itself. That's fair to say. Hey you waiting for fire? Hey Bert. Poor Lily's snoring. She's snory dog again, isn't she? So flat out. She's funny. Hi. Yeah, you'll be very good. But you're so quiet. You're not like Buzz that we saw yesterday. Buzz was mad. Buzz kept bringing me all his toys. No, so plenty of power in this, and it's pulling away really nice and quick.
Looks like it's going really nicely.
It is, Mike. And this one takes a wee bit longer to heat the actual body, because clocks are really robust, really heavy, but you've got a solid body with a lot of insulation, and the heat builds, it kicks the heat out nice and fast, but the heat builds over a longer time to push out the front. And given it's still really rather warm out there, it's probably about 16 out there
it's
tonight.
Very warm, yeah. Well,
yeah.
Like t-shirt and shorts this time of night.
So because it's really quite warm out there still, it's going to probably end up needing the patio doors opening not too long.
We're going to in a minute, because of these paint, I'm guessing.
It might get a bit whiffy. I have no idea how much smoke or smell we're going to get off the forest green paint, but the black clock paint sometimes whiffs a bit. I've done a video on that because it smokes quite a lot more than you may expect. The one wasn't really too bad at all, was it?
No, not bad. It did a bit.
It did a bit.
No,
but some of the paints now, like what they use on the heater, are what they call no fume paint and don't smell at all. But that can come with its own secrets and surprises. All the different paints from different manufacturers are different, and they all sort of do the different things, but they just need to bake on different. So we've got a nice good fire going in there, and it's all well caught. So all the logs are caught. We should be able to get it to catch on one fire lighter, one match every single time once you get used to lighting your fire. and as long as I catch it nicely. So at that point, I'm going to turn the bottom air off, or maybe a sniff open. Now it's not up to temperature because you can see the black and the carbon in the firebox. So until all that's cleaned down and doing its stuff, I'm just gonna leave it alone. Let it cool, let it heat up the chimney. We don't want to shut it down too quick. We do not want to open the door too fast, especially when you've got an outside flue, or the longer the flue that you have and you've got cold air in there, means you're going to drop the air pressure. So if you haven't pushed all that cold out, it might be nice and hot in here, but you've got to think you've got to flush all that cold air out the chimney. So if we're opening this door too soon to put another log in, because for example you haven't put enough kindling or logs in there to get it started, you open that door, you're going to drop the air pressure, and that's when the cold air pushes the hot air back down and you're more likely to smoke yourself out. Now it's still about burning as little fuel as you can, not as much fuel as you can. We're aiming to be burning 1 to 1.5 kilos of fuel really an hour, so do try weighing it to see what that looks like, because it is only a bag to a bag and a half of sugar, and no more than that even in the first burn, but it's how we stack it. We want a higher tier so that every time you take a layer you're getting more pressure and more lift, and that makes the most massive difference in getting your chimney heated up and pushing that cold air out. It's not just about developing the fire and getting the firebox up to temperatures, but getting the cold air out the chimney. And the biggest problem people make is if they haven't had enough fire going, especially on a cold day when you get pressurisation or downdraft, or you've got heavy rain on the outside, they're opening that door to put more fuel in. And by opening the door to put more fuel in, that's what drops the pressure. So it's as much time, leave it alone and don't touch it till you have to touch it. Less is more. Yeah, we just get Mike open the door because it's got a whiff in here. You can't see it coming off the fire at the minute, but you can see it up by the ceiling. So I don't know if you can see it from up here. Maybe not in the phone. You can see at the top level, a few inches down from the ceiling, it's just like a haze. Now, in the black ones, you can see it all rising off. We can actually see it on the top of the stove though, although we can't see it in the air. See the paint changing colour? See that like ring? Yeah, got it. You can see the paint coming off the surface. There you go. You can see it wispy. Now I'm getting on video, you can actually physically see it just. The colour inside the fireplace opening is, I'll link in the other video to the black clock. You could really see it getting really hazy off the top. But you can see the colour change where the fire is actually heating up and the paint's baking on. And it's roasting in here now anyway, and most of our fire is up to temperature because the black is starting to clear other than the top corners. So most of this stove is nicely up to temperature, or nicely getting to temperature internally, but we're not going to be putting any more fuel on this tonight. We're not going to be putting any more fuel on this tonight. This is its first fire, but we're just baking the paint on. And as the rest of that gets hot, yeah, Lorraine's opening the windows, Mike's opening the doors. It's nice and cool anyway. It's one of these things, just let it burn out now on its first burn and cure that paint on and let the paint harden. Because the stove has to get up to temperature. A couple of fires. Generally by the time you get to the end of your second fire, the paint's fully baked on, but the first one especially gets a bit whiffy. And yeah, saw it up there but didn't see it off the top, but we can see it now. So one, you want to go this one? So just slotted, the handle is now that way round. The offside, so well away from the stove.
That's it. That's
so some people prefer it one way to the other, but it makes it a lot easier, and it also raises the height. So instead of you having to reach away down here, you've actually raised your lift height for about 4 inches.
That's round people, isn't it?
Or people that can't bend down like your lovely other half. Makes it easier, and it just slots on over the original handle, and you can leave it on the hearth so it stays cold.
It can stay on, it doesn't matter, does it, particularly?
No, but it'll get hot if you leave it on.
Really
The whole point is you don't have to use the glove.
I didn't know what the black
So you can just, it'll get hot if you leave it on, but the whole point is you either have to have a glove on your hand, on the handle. When you've got a glove on the handles are cute, but they're a bit short and a bit awkward.
Yeah. Gives you a bit
So
more
for
to
Lorraine,
get hands behind
to
it.
make it easier for her to get to it and get a better grip on it, the fact that her handle
Better
stays
down,
cooled
yeah.
and closed. Yeah, it's not so fumey now the doors are open with the paint going off, but it is pretty, isn't it? It looks lovely in there. Yeah, by the time you have the next burn, the paint will have booked in, but it's right pretty burning now. But it takes a while to burn that paint off in the whole unit. The bottom air's already turned off in this, so we've just got the top air. So when you turn the air control down, the fire will really drop depending on the air.
Yeah.
But we've not got a huge amount of fuel in there. You can see it dulling right down, but that's still the kindling that's in the top and 2 small logs in the bottom. But when you've had, generally we don't want to reload until you're down to chunky red ember, so it's easier down with an outside chimney when you've got 4 small logs, because that burns right down to give you a really good red ember bed. But at the other hand is we don't want to burn this too long because we're going to stink it out on fumes on its first burn on here. So I'm going to open it back up and give that a bit more power. Get it back up to full air. If we open the bottom vent as well to get that back a bit quicker on this occasion, just to give it a bit more updraft, gives us just a bit killed it, because there'll still be some cold air at the top trying to push the hot air back down. We just need to give it that pressure. It takes about 10 seconds to come back. Now if I give you a quick zoom up close in the field, you'll see there's no red ember in the middle. They were straight down to the grate, and the kindling's near enough all gone on the top. So those 2 logs, there's a big gap in the middle, and that's from basically how Meg's laid the fire. So what happens then is you end up having to open the door, which is what we were just talking about. So this handle's not hot yet, but it will get hot. And when you open the door, and I've got both air vents fully open at the minute, when you open the door and you're on a cold chimney, and it might happen, and it might be quite good if it happens, as you drop the air pressure, oh look, there we go, all the smoke's coming out the door. Ha, good. Actually, it's a good thing to see, because that's what we don't want to happen. That's why we put 4 small logs.
Use the other ones. So.
Yeah, these ones on this side. We put 4 small logs in when we light it to get the pressure, especially when the outside chimney up, so that doesn't happen. Because that pressure and opening that door to put more fuel in is what we don't want to happen. We want to get enough push on our outside chimney to make sure we clear all that cold air out before we open the door. So 4 small logs and then the kindling on top, not 2. So we're going to put that kiln dry birch on top, leave the air fully open and keep pushing it so that we don't get all that cold in. We were going to give up at that and let the paint go off, but it's a good demonstration actually showing the cold air pushing the hot air back down and out because we've opened that door too soon. If you've got an internal chimney where we're going straight up, so it's not so cold because you've got a liner within that chimney, not so bad. But this is a twin wall on the outside, so it takes a lot longer to heat up because it's going offset and all the flue's outside. And we've got to push all that cold out, and it takes a lot more pressure to get that out. So that fire, as we've got now, zoom her in, with, we've now got 4 logs, 2 small logs, and they are tiny. They're only, there's none that size in there to show you. Right, okay. So that is about 4 inches outside diameter by about 2 inches across. It's not 4 of them that I've got. It's not 4 that size I've got in there. It's 4 about half that size I've got in there. So it's like 2 on the bottom and another 2 on top. Yeah. Half of this. So 1 log split into 4, 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, then the kindling pile on top of that, so it's not far off close to the baffle, so that as it burns down, it's like rolling a snowball down a field. Start slow, increase the pressure, increase the pressure, increase the pressure, get 1 layer at a time, push it up. So each time you take a layer, you get more updraft to push it up. And by the time you've burnt that whole lot down, you'll have a nice hot ember bed on the bottom that will give you enough pressure to, enough power to reload to clear all that cold air out. Because we don't want to be opening that door out and have it pushing back like what we just saw. So that was a really good demonstration tonight. That was one that I haven't actually seen and done on any of my other videos that's well worth having. because it's something that we really want to avoid, and it's very easy done, but it's just misunderstanding on when you open the door. Right, Mike now thinks I've completely lost the plot, but we've got some kiln dried birch here, and I usually use kiln dried birch for using my lighting videos and as a test when we first light every stove, because it means we've got a benchmark. We know it will burn nice and hot and fast, and always have enough power in it to get everything up to temperature. Because sometimes if you use hardwood logs, you need to have had the heat in the burner first to get it going enough to get enough power and pressure. Now what Lorraine's bringing me some washing up liquid. This is a bit weird. Mike's like, what do you want washing up liquid? In fact, they're both saying, what do you want washing up liquid for? Well, Mike had the trouble last winter at one point because we had some logs that weren't that dry. And wet wood doesn't burn very well, but this can sometimes be, it doesn't always work, but most of the time it works. It certainly works with birch. It's a right odd one, as you put fairy liquid on it. What the hell is she doing now? It's like, oh God, what's she up to? Right, so I'm going to put fairy liquid on that log. And I'm going to pass my phone to Mike to video this bit for me. And put some more on the end of it, just in case I blow it in the wrong place. So she's like, what is she doing? He's laughing his head off, going, she's an absolute nutcase. She's completely lost it now. But actually, this is quite a good test because it only works with dry wood and it doesn't work with wet wood. And it only works with the softer woods, not the really hard woods. You usually get a feel for it, for how heavy it is when you know how dry your wood is. But anyway, there we go. I'll pass that on to Mike. Right. You can. Right, okay, so what we've got is we've got a log with fairy liquid on it. But when you've got wood, the cortex or the wood, or the tubules, run the length of the shaft of the piece of wood. And when it's wet, it's full of sap and water, because that's how it gets from the roots of the plant to feed your tree. But when it's dry, it's empty, so they're hollow. So when I blow on it, you see bubbles coming out.
Yep.
And all that foamy bubbles is
So,
because we've got dry wood. So the air's blowing through the logs
Getting
because
through it,
it's dry.
yeah.
So you
Common
can typically tell that your logs are pretty dry because we're getting the air out the other side.
And it makes your fire smell nice.
And it doesn't taste very nice though. Right, so what we've got now where we see, you can see all the smoke coming off, but that's not smoke, that's the curing paint. And it's absolutely stinks now. So we're going to shut the bottom air back down again. And we can shut, in fact, let's just see the air controls on this. So the bottom air is off, and the top air is fully open, and it's drawing away like a little steam train now, because we're getting plenty of pressure, plenty of draft, pushing all that cold air up. And if I just zoom it out a bit, as I turn this down, it takes a few seconds to react, you'll see and hear the difference as we're cutting the air right back. Loads of control on these. Loads and loads of control. And as we turn it back and let the air back in, you'll see, there we go, you can hear the difference. Now turn it down a bit more gently this time. A bit quieter, a bit slower. And balance it up till we've got a rolling flame. And that'll do that for now. And you can see even more the paint baking on off the top and the fumes coming off of it. Because that is really nasty, stinky paint. Oh, it's piling out now. So I think it's time to leave it alone. Definitely not put any more on it. Just shut the air down a bit more. We'll leave it nice and low like that. Definitely no more. Yuck. You can see it up round the top, possibly. Maybe not. We certainly see it off coming off the paint. You can see the paint is different colour there. It's like tacky, wet. Well, it's not wet. It's just a different colour. Tackiness as it starts to cure, but it's getting a bit whiffy. So what we're just talking about now is burning stoves overnight or a long time. I don't like burning them overnight. I'd rather you open it up when you go to your bed and burn it off, but some people, I guess, just have to. So what happens is, especially an outside chimney and it gets really cold, really cold, in the wintertime when the temperatures have really dropped, well, what happens is your gases cool. So if your gases are cooling and you've shut it right down, you've seen that smoke can come out the door when you've got negative downdraft and pressure. So as your fire's going out and there's barely any fire in there, your cold pressure can push your hot back down, come out into your room, which is even more important that you've got your carbon monoxide detector in your room and that your carbon monoxide detector is fitted in the right position. None of this putting carbon monoxide detectors on mantelpieces or on shelves or down next to the side of your telly, because your carbon monoxide's heavier than your air, so it needs to go in a set location, and your carbon monoxide detector wants to be more than 1 metre away from the fire, but closer than 3 metres to the fire, and either on the ceiling or about 12 inches down but above the height of windows and doors. Is it on this side, Mike?
It's over there by the bookcase.
You could put it over there by the bookcase. What, away over here? Right, okay, so apparently the carbon monoxide detector is...
in this room.
Oh, right, okay, over here.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably a bit more than 3 metres, so I think we'd probably move that. It is at the right height, because it's down from the ceiling a few inches, and you can press the button and it works. But I would say that's about 4 or 5 metres, 2, 3, 4, heading towards 5 metres away from the stove. Realistically, if these guys can bear it, I would rather it be about here or something like that, and on the ceiling, a lot closer to where the fire is, because
Can it just be screwed to that thing?
over there's too far. Yeah, screw it to the beam or stick it on the ceiling. We can put some sticky tape on the back of it and I can stick it up there. Some Velcro. I've got double-sided Velcro that's on sticky, so the sticky back, just stick it off then if you ever need to take it back. Some Velcro sticky pads. 1 to 3 metres away from the fire, and either on the ceiling or just down from the ceiling and above the height of windows and doors, because your carbon monoxide's heavier than air, and we don't want Mike going to sleep on his chair and the carbon monoxide's near enough getting him before, for whatever reason, before the carbon monoxide alarm's going off and it's too late because you're already breathing it in. That wouldn't be good if you ever got a blockage or anything else. So it is actually critical that safety comes first and carbon monoxides have to go in the right location. So with the fire here and the carbon monoxide detector away over there is too far away. We need to get that moved.
I have to get. Oh my god!
So there's not much in there, but it's worth you showing.
I'll have to get the home for
You said there's spiders on the ceiling that have decided. It's not spiders. It's not spiders. It's little crane harvest fly things. It's probably because of the reflection of the TV. They like that kind of, is it green and yellow colour? When you
the lights on.
the lights on and the windows open to get rid of the fumes. Now, can we see? Yeah, you can see the line on the paint that is now cured all the way right up to here. You'll see the colour difference. So we're just letting this go out. But having put 4 logs on the stove, the 2 that's on the top with the 2 on the bottom, as that's dying down, gives you that really nice big ember bed that when you go to put another log, which we're not going to do at the moment, when you go to put another log in, by then you've pushed all the cold air out the chimney, you've got plenty of hot red ember at the bottom, so when you open the door and put another log in the top, there's enough heat and enough ember in the inside that when you open the air up or leave the door cracked for a few seconds, it can really give a boost to pull it away. But I don't think we need more logs in here tonight, because we've got the doors wide open and it's warm enough and we just want all the painty stuff to go away. But by the time that's cooled down, it's so near the edges, these guys should have had all the paint go off before they need to have another fire.